the video part, our YouTube channel is going to be an evolving process because it's like a little bit, just slightly more complicated than audio. But we're going to go. We're going to learn as we go.
Exactly. Learn as we go.
Yeah.
All right, so we were talking about the root word of spirituality, which is spiritus, meaning breath. One of the official definitions, the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things.
Yeah, that's what I read today.
A person's relationship with the transcendent questions that confront one as a human being. Spirituality, a daily trust in the one that created me, or the oneness that created me. And it's a broad concept.
Spirituality?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I think even though some of the definitions that I read exclude religion, I don't actually think religion can be excluded from spirituality, because some people find religion to be a very spiritual experience. Right. Yeah. Connecting them with, God or their soul or divinity or whatever it is, Jesus or whatever. So I don't know that there's actually an exclude. The word spirituality too, in modern terms, is like, I feel like it's a little overused and underdescribed.
Like that word amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
I know. I think of you every time.
I actually was going to write it this morning. I was writing something this morning and I almost used amazing and I thought, no. So if I was to say to you, what is spirituality? How would you answer that personally?
What is spirituality for me?
Yeah, so spirituality is?
How I would answer that right now, in this moment in time, which has changed over the years, is for me, I try to include everything, including the way that I interact with the world and my environment and nature and obviously people. So it's a moment by moment practice versus an individual practice that, like that. We've talked about practices that get us into a certain space and mindset, but spirituality is just, it's almost like a way of living for me. I don't know, to always stay plugged in, staying plugged in.
A way of living.
So
when I go quiet, for those of you who are not watching, I am a big note taker. So I'm taking notes.
And I'm watching her take notes.
What did you say after a way of living? See, that's what happens when I start talking.
Minute by minute practice.
Minute by minute practice, right. These are notes that I want to take because these are notes I want to share on our social media pages.
And one of the conversations that I had with Josh this morning because I asked him, and he is of nature, like he's literally like earth, very earth, and he's just brought to my attention so much lately, just even the use of the word human, and how and it's this word exclude just keeps coming up. We exclude nature so much, but yet we are, we could benefit from really bringing that into our consciousness too, and how do we drop into the flow of being part of the rhythms of nature. I feel like that, when I think about that, it's something that I feel deep. I've just never actually put it into words as being part of spirituality and rhythms and just being a part of everything versus separating myself out as a human, because that almost like creates a hierarchy, and I'm not sure that actually exists.
I'm reminded of something I saw on Facebook. Maybe it was years ago. It was definitely, and you talk about this being a minute by minute practice and how it evolves, and it's very true. Somebody posted something on Facebook some years ago, and it talked about whether rocks and trees could have rights. Is that what it was? It was something about bringing awareness to nature. And at the time I thought, are you fucking crazy? No, that's so stupid. Like, why would you even think that? today, it's all one.
Mm-hmm.
And those rocks that are out there are part of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
We are part of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
The rocks and the trees are part of my spirituality as much as I'm part of their spirituality.
Yeah.
And this is my belief. It's that oneness. But I use this example to bring up the evolution. So evolution seems to be our word of the day today.
Yeah. And exclude.
And exclude.
But it is true because, well, I mean, like, we're all made up of all very similar parts.
And I would never exclude nature now. Whereas I used to, but I don't anymore. And there are days that I prefer nature over humans.
And could you actually separate your soul? Because spirituality talks about the soul. It's like the exploration of learning what your soul is as it relates to nature. I mean, like, I feel like, and I know you asked me, I think I answered that question, but like a common theme when you talk about spirituality that I hear from a lot of people is almost like pulling yourself off of the earth and living in sort of like a la-la land.
Untethered? Would you use the word untethered? Or is it being
Maybe.
tethered to earth and the universe?
Well, why does there have to be a separation?
Why does there?
Right? Or is there? I don't think so.
there's any
No.
separation. of
But I
anything.
feel like people, and generally speaking, people that maybe like consider themselves to be spiritual, put themselves in other realms and think that the earth is not spiritual.
That's interesting.
Mm.
Okay.
Because if we're
But-
talking about the soul,
Right.
yeah. All right, so go ahead. Let's bring it back
it's
down.
it's all what that's what I'm saying. Like there is no separation between my soul and the earth as a thing,
Right.
as a living, breathing planet.
How much time do you spend thinking about that or feeling that?
Not so often, only because I'm living my life, so I don't make the time to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do pay attention to nature every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't consciously think of my soul being part of. I just take it for granted that there's a oneness. There's no separation between me and nature
Right.
and the earth. And I know I've told you about the show, and if any of you are listening or watching who have not seen it and have a scientific mind, check out One Strange Rock.
Oh, that's right.
Will Smith narrates that show. It's one series, one season. I think it's maybe 10 episodes. It's amazing to learn about this beautiful planet that we live on. I found a quote by Rumi. I looked in temples, churches, and mosques, but I found the divine within my heart.
I love that.
I thought that was so pretty. I needed to write that down there. So I have lots of notes, and I'm just going to go through them, and if anything comes up, I know that you've spent some time reflecting on this topic as well. But when I looked up what is spirituality, these are some of the things that I came up with that people have just claimed. Spirituality is inner peace, freedom, owning one's divinity, sacredness, love, community and connections, awe and wonder, trusting, search for the truth about existence, and knowing what is best for me, or knowing what is best for them. I also had written here all of it through my experiences. So spirituality is all of it through. I must have written that. must have been in some place. I don't
Well,
really
maybe
remember
all
where I
of
wrote
what
that.
you wrote, all those words
through
through
my
your
experience. So that's interesting. So inner peace, freedom, love, community connection, awe and wonder, sacredness. I guess maybe the better question is, what is not spirituality?
Yeah, well, I think nothing. Like everything can be when everything goes back to practices. Like, what puts you on the path? Do you even have to be aware of spirituality to be spiritual?
Let's pose that question to you.
The audience.
The audience.
Do you have to be aware of spirituality to be spiritual?
I'm writing this down.
Yeah.
Do you have to be aware of spirituality to be spiritual?
Does it have to be an actual quest of discovery? or can it unfold naturally?
So I did a little research about a spiritual person. And a spiritual person loves oneself and others, cares about people, animals, and the planet,
Yeah.
consciously attempts to honor the oneness.
There we go. That's a great. Want to read that one again?
I would love to.
'Cause that's
So a
beauteous.
spiritual person, this is the research that I did, and this is what I've come up with, is about being loving to yourself and others, cares about people, animals, and the planet, and consciously attempts to honor the oneness.
Yeah.
When I read that, consciously attempts to honor the oneness, I come back to your question, do you have to be aware of spirituality to be spiritual?
So no.
We would love to know your answer.
Yeah. Tell us your answer.
We're going to
Share.
pose these questions.
Yeah, that's cool.
Seeking answers about the infinite. Oh, here's another thing. Okay, so let's talk about talismans
Okay.
and spirituality. Because a lot of people find something that they put a lot of energy into as being something spiritual. And I know I do that.
Yeah.
I have my little angel wings on right now. And
Right.
this to me is a huge spiritual side. And I feel more deeply connected when I have something angelic on my body.
Okay.
What are your thoughts around a talisman?
Yeah.
Crystal. A
I
statue.
know, like, or finding a feather, or
Feathers.
yeah. For me, we've talked about this a little bit. I guess for me, they're reminders. Like there's something that happens when I see something in nature, whether it's a rock or a feather or whatever, that I can pick up and bring with me, or if I buy something in a store, that it just brings me. I don't know. There's like this vacuum that it so like brings me in. There's a visual to this. It brings me in, and then it expands me out. Like it's a reminder. And then it
Of your
connects
spirituality.
of my home, my soul, I guess, which would
be
spirituality. Yeah.
If it's everything.
And
right?
then the connection to everything. So it's like a 2-phase process that happens.
And how many of you have talismans? Have that object that guides you into yourself, your heart center, your heart cave, and then helps you to expand, to be more spiritual, to see your life in through more spiritual eyes, maybe?
And what does it evoke in you? You know, like when you come across, for you, it'd be like a pair of angel wings, right? I mean, that's not the only thing, but like when you come across something that prompts a reaction of some kind, where does that come from? Where does the reaction come from? Is it from a memory? Is it from a point in your evolution that you discovered something that you always like consciously said, I will return to this moment to remember who I am? Is it a subconscious thing, an unconscious thing, a past life thing?
There's so many questions.
Yeah.
And we need all the answers right now. So this will make for the best podcast ever.
You just sounded like one of those, what were they, like the things to raise money? We need all of those right now. Please call.
We need your help.
We need your help. What
right now. We have tote bags.
A phone-a-thon? Was it what were they called?
Like, what are those called?
Telethon.
Telethon.
Yeah.
We have Hawks and Lavender totes ready to give away.
No, we don't. No, we don't yet.
But we will.
But we will. That was such a plea. Shauna's plea.
Help us. We're doing the best we can.
But the way you said it, we need all the answers right now. You made eye contact with the camera.
So,
that was great.
Okay. I'm going to feathers. When I find a feather, so my last one I found was the beautiful cardinal feather right after I saw 1111 on my phone.
That's right.
When that happens, I immediately go to my heart center and offer gratitude. And I feel the oneness with everything. But I want to say most especially what we refer to as God. When I was walking in your house with you a couple of years ago and saw those angel wings on your front door. You remember that?
Yeah.
They're now on my front door. I remember seeing them and feeling protected and guided and supported. And to me, that's my spirituality, that trust that I have a team of angels and ancestors and guides in the unseen realm that are with me all the time. So feathers help me to, feathers and wings, I love angel wings, really, they, what do I want to say? What do I feel here? I feel connected.
Mm-hmm. So physically, what do you feel in your body in those moments?
Soft.
What does it evoke?
Just light and joy and happiness and security.
And physically in your body?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel it here. I feel it in my sacral, solar plexus, and heart. Right in the front here.
Almost like it lights up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what just one part of my spirituality. One of the things that struck me here, and again, I'm trying to be okay with the moments of silence because I know the two of us we can go silent for a while.
We can, but it's okay. I think that's like an offering for anyone in the audience, is to just be
to ponder. You think yourself.
even if it's uncomfortable
Feel
for
yourself.
you, notice the discomfort.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna let that go now.
Yeah.
I've said enough about that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the word freedom, by the way, and I think spirituality really is a freedom.
Define freedom.
It's kind of like how you just defined what you felt in your body. Like everything lights up. You feel like, I keep imagining dropping into, or letting go into the flow of.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I've been practicing over the past couple
Letting
of weeks.
go into the flow of,
of what my life is right now.
Right. Without
and not having to think it has to be something else.
I've been doing that. Yeah.
Oh my God! It was like, epiphany.
Which is not always comfortable, and it's a
It's
lot
not.
of letting go, because it's a lot of, I don't even know how to put this into words right now.
I can tell you that sometimes so last night it was so balmy up here. It was beautiful. Door was open and it was cloudy and it was going to rain. It was just so cool. And I was walking around, I was lighting my candles, and I was so full of gratitude for being in my home and having it feel like a home. And it was warm in October, and I was just so happy. And I thought, okay, I don't have the high end of everything in my house. I'm not working Monday through Friday making
Whatever.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the freedom to be in my house and to create whenever I want to create, and to light my candles at any time of the day. And it's that weighing out of the freedom versus the materialistic end of things.
Yeah, I've been feeling that, like with Josh, because him and I have we both own businesses. We both have created a life that we wanted to create. And so we get to spend a lot of time together, and things are happening. We still work a lot, whatever that is. I don't even know.
What is that?
It doesn't even matter. Things are still happening.
Right.
Everything's still moving, even when we're not there at our businesses. And like I have to, once in a while, I catch myself feeling like, I'm going to use the word that you hate, but I should be doing something else. And I'm like, no, this is exactly I created this on purpose.
Right.
So I'm just going to enjoy it right now, because this is what's happening. And I will do the same thing. Take a deep breath and just be grateful for this like beautiful moment.
And that is spirituality.
Yeah.
I'm claiming that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that is spirituality.
There you go
It's
again.
beautiful,
It's the telethon.
I don't even hear this in
I'm
myself.
telling you.
And I'm sorry for those of you watching. I don't have a tissue and my nose is running.
I love it. I love it so much.
One thing that caught me here when I was talking about a spiritual person cares about people.
And animals.
Yeah,
and
well, let's
nature.
just
Okay.
go back to the people for a second.
All right.
Because I know me, and I do a lot of self-reflection. And there have been many years that I was not living a spiritual life. I was making it all about me. And it wasn't about other people. And again, this is a fairly new practice for me to really care deeply for other people outside of my initial circle.
Right.
And to make the time for them.
I'm giving inside your initial circle. I feel like that has changed.
Absolutely.
What I've witnessed for. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, let's be honest. It's always been about me. It has been. I'm not going to lie about that.
But the depth.
And I love myself anyway from discovering that. But I want to care more about other people besides myself. Like, put other people first.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that even a thing?
Putting other people first? I think it is a thing, yeah. I do. Because I have put myself first more often. Well, I don't know. I don't keep the numbers. But it feels like for a huge chunk of my life. Wow. All right.
But are you so full right now of genuine unconditional love for yourself that now it flows into?
It's getting there.
Right.
That's what I've felt. So over the past 2 years, ever since my heart initiation, really, it's that building. And I've noticed that this is the message that I'm now bringing whenever I speak. It's that it doesn't matter what you discover about yourself, love yourself anyway.
So it's not really putting others first, though. It's an overflow of what you have finally created and cultivated within yourself.
I never looked at it that way.
Yeah, because if putting other people first, well, I guess I don't know what this is, but in my mind it's almost like a martyr, and you're not that. You're working consciously to be a vast person in order to create space to love people in the same space that you've been loving yourself. Because I don't think it can really happen.
Wow, you have no idea how much pressure you just took off me.
Oh.
Really?
Did that on purpose.
I bet you did.
Well, and actually what you're describing is a deterioration of the ego, too.
I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I have been noticed, even the past couple of days, I noticed that when people irritate me, like the person in the theater yesterday, and that's all, I'm not going to get into that again now, but what I've always gone to is not trying to understand or accept the person or to be compassionate towards them. It's how you're affecting me negatively and how I'm irritated by it. And that's been my pattern of behavior for most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so yesterday when I was in the theater and the woman was on her phone next to me, and that's going to be a podcast episode.
Which would kind of be like taking it personal.
Yeah, but it was distracting. And there's a huge message on this huge screen in front of us. Don't interrupt it. Keep your phone shut off.
No, I'm saying before. Not you. Oh. Not yesterday. It's all right that you got annoyed with her. But, when something happened before, you would take it kind of personal and not try to care about... now you're in a different state of mind where you're you get annoyed because it is distracting, but also, the deeper...
I try to sit there and think, okay, maybe my biggest assumption, my most grandest assumption is she's addicted to her phone and she can't possibly not look at it for more than 15 minutes. And then from that place to try to have more compassion. But I like what you said, though. Wow, this is like a whole new door that just opened for me. Is that overflowing of love for myself as I'm discovering all these awful things, but it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
And that, in turn, is helping me to have more unconditional love for other people. And that is that sense of putting other people first.
Yeah.
Wow. Pressure's off.
I am that's it. We're done.
I've been all right, how the hell do I put someone else first?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and it's shadow. So as much as you put pressure on yourself to explore the shadow, there's so many shadows. Think about all you've done to bring those shadows into the light. That you are recognizing that you feel like you're putting other people first, but it's because of you've created light all around you.
So in turn, I am becoming a more spiritual person as the days tick by,
Yeah.
which is really friggin' cool.
Which, again, is about that expanded sense of being wherever you are. You've created space for other people to enter, or for you to enter. And like a container, it's all about the container,
It's all about
the
the
temple,
container.
yes. So the temple, over a lifetime, becomes the world.
I did a lot of focus on my temple this morning when I was in meditation, going around in my rooms.
And maybe its origination point, like Rumi said, is the heart. That's the doorway.
Absolutely, I believe that.
Yeah.
And what was his quote? I looked in temples, churches, and mosques, but I found the divine within my heart.
Mm.
And maybe that's why I wrote it down, because that resonated so deeply immediately when I read it.
I'm like having so many visuals while we're sitting here of that, like of just door after door opening into your heart leads to all those places, because it's all the external and the internal are just a reflection of everything. But if you go through the heart, then everything becomes
Love.
a temple. Love. Yeah, it's all the same. Spiritual, the soul, and then to the vast oneness that we all are.
I decided that I wanted to do something for our podcasts, and I think this was
Is
the
this a surprise?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it's because of the coach in me. I love to ask questions. I love to pose questions, and I really enjoy getting people to think or feel. So I wrote down some questions.
And so these are like things that, with the private Facebook page, that you all
we're
can
gonna
just do the invite thing, and we'll accept you. And anything that piques your interest from these shows, from these episodes, write it on there. Yeah, even if we like don't repeat it again, or you're like, oh, you asked this question, or you talked about this, like write about it on the private, or even in comments, like on Instagram and YouTube.
The Instagram thing isn't privite per se.
No, but we can still, we can get a little more intimate on the private
Facebook page,
right?
Group.
But whatever, just send us. Just talk to us. We just want you to talk.
We absolutely respect and appreciate your need for privacy. So these questions, these aren't questions like, I mean, if you want to answer them, if I want to answer them, great. These are not like
rhetorical.
Yeah, yes, and they're more posed towards our listeners and our viewers.
Okay.
But what feels true for you in regards to your spiritual or religious practices? Now, I ask this question because when I read something, what feels true to me, I keep. What does not, I discard.
Mm-hmm.
So what feels true for you in regards to your own spiritual or religious practices?
Right now. I'm going to add that.
Right now,
because that
right
can
now.
change.
And it does change.
Yeah, throughout the day.
Right? Right now, in this moment.
Like the wind. Like the wind. Can you break it down? I would pose that too. Can you break it down of what, if you think about your whole entire lifetime, has there been a thread of spirituality, and what is that thread? And then what else have you sewn in over time? Or what are you feeling about, like right now, I think that there's like a linear maybe spirituality, and then there's like different points of different pathways but you always come back to the one point. I don't know.
I can tell you what you were just talking about brought me back to the days I used to go to church when I was a kid. It never resonated with me. It didn't. I love churches. I think they are beautiful homes of worship. Being in church never really sat with me the way I thought it needed to. I always loved when everybody sang. That always touched something, and then I would go immediately to my pattern of like pushing it all down, not crying, not being emotional because I wasn't supposed to feel. But so to me, thinking about that now, it's that sense of community that I appreciated about being in church. But I think I was always led to live a more spiritual life because I feel like a spiritual life doesn't come with the rules that
The Dharma.
a lot of
Yeah.
religions put down. And I've always had a problem with
Yeah.
rules, but yet I'm a rule follower to a fault. So go figure.
Well, and that's like kind of the origination point of your thread, whether it's based in that religion or it's something that pushed you out to think differently.
And what you talked about there, you were posing a question that had to do with what has kind of been your pattern of spirituality throughout your life.
Yeah, that's one.
That led me to to a question that I ask myself a lot. What has always been true for you?
Mm-hmm.
What has always been true for me? What has always been true for you? And that's another topic.
Yeah.
But that just made me reflect on that question. So what has always been true for you spiritually? What has your spiritual pattern been, even if it did lead you to a mosque or a temple or a church?
You want me to answer that?
You can if you
want.
want.
I mean, I've talked. I think I talked about this in our first or second episode. That God is love.
Indeed.
Yeah. That is and my intuition, like now that I know what it really, really, really feels like, it was been there
the whole time,
forever and ever. Amen. Yeah.
Amen. Forever and ever. Amen. Is there any real right or wrong?
Yeah. Yes. Well, in spirituality or in life, because that's a loaded question.
This is just a question I wrote down here under this topic of spirituality. Is there any... So let's talk about spirituality then. Is there any real right or wrong in regards to spirituality? Spirituality, I do believe, is that caring for other people, the planet, and animals, right? Seeing it all as a oneness. So if I was to say something was wrong, for myself, would be to think that rocks and trees didn't play a role in our lives.
Yeah, he's stumping me on this right or wrong thing just because it's so...
Well, what is it about it that's stumping you?
It's just so black and white. Like, it's...
And you want to stay in that gray area?
I don't necessarily want to stay in the gray area, but I don't know if they're... Like, as it relates to spirituality, say it again.
And here's the thing, though. If you did think that something was wrong in regards to spirituality, is it just because of your own preference?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. So I think that's like that's definitely a personal question, is if you think something... I answered yes right away. Oh, because I didn't know it was based on spirituality. I thought you meant life. I was like, yes, it's definitely...
We're sticking to spirituality
quote
right now.
unquote right and wrong. I don't love either one of those words. But as it relates to spirituality...
And you don't have to answer this.
No, I know, but you got me thinking.
Good.
Yeah.
See what happens?
As it relates... Yeah, I think that would be personal. And I think that it's an offering that should be explored because there's a lot of gray.
We'll leave that one for now. If anyone has any comments, any feedback on that. I'm just going to read these out. What in your life really matters? What is your purpose? Who are you? And this one really caught me. What are we all so afraid of?
Okay.
How do you obtain...
Or what are you afraid of? Because when you say, what are we all so afraid of, it sounds like everyone's afraid of the same thing.
I think so in some of the readings I found online, a lot of religion was brought into these. There was that comparison between spirituality and religion. And I think that question might have come from something that was more religion-based.
Yeah.
How do you obtain true peace? What does it mean to live in the present moment?
What is true peace to you? And what is true peace? And is that two separate things? What was the last question?
What does it mean to live in the present? So let's go back to that for a second. Instead of jumping around because it just confuses the listeners. How do you obtain true peace? your question you posed to me is, what is my definition of true peace? That's selective. It can be different for every single person. When I feel into what true peace is for me, it's when everything feels perfect and right within myself and within the world. When I can find that harmony and that balance within me, and I can feel it, and I feel joy and happiness, and just everything's good. Now, there are things that play a role. I don't watch the news.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might get upset to hear that, but I know for me to have that inner peace, I cannot watch the nightly news because then I just get upset. So it's I think it's very unique to the individual.
Mm-hmm.
What would you define as inner peace or true peace? How would you obtain, or how would you define true peace right now?
I think it's I think you defined it well. I felt connected to what you said, for sure. The word freedom came up, but I think all the words that you described also describe freedom. And yeah, I mean, that was good. You did a good job.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Now call us now. What does it mean? What does
Tell
it
us on,
mean to
continue.
live in the present moment? So we have that practice of present moment awareness, and we hope that you integrate a practice of present moment awareness. But what does it mean to live in the present moment?
It means to live in the present moment fully.
What does that mean? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that smell like? And again, I'm not posing these. I know I'm looking at you.
No, I know. Yeah.
We want you to be thinking about these questions as well. What is your greatest distraction?
Ooh.
That one really piqued my interest, and I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it.
How would that relate to spirituality?
And how does that relate to spirituality? Is it that our distractions are keeping us away from present moment awareness?
Or is your greatest distraction your greatest meditation?
Wow, what?
Yeah.
One more time?
Is your greatest distraction your greatest meditation? A distraction could be like, I love to cook, I spend hours cooking. But when you're in that, are you completely at peace and present?
So I guess we'd have to define, what are we being distracted from?
Right.
So what is your greatest distraction from spirituality?
Oh, excuses. I guess. I don't know. Is anything an actual distraction?
Wow,
If
we are going so deep today.
You know that. You know that.
And it just goes deeper and deeper. What's funny, because the new meme I'm going to be putting out in the next day or so is about going deep.
Yeah. I mean, if we bring this full circle to where we started, we said that every moment is our spiritual practice. So why couldn't our distractions be considered part of our spirituality? Is there any way of being spiritual? Like, then that creates, like, that's an ego thing. Right?
Mm.
Potentially. I mean, distractions are a beautiful thing some of the time.
Sometimes.
A lot of the time.
How many times have I texted you? I'm putting my phone down.
Well, and then
I'm going to stop texting you because I'm distracting myself.
Comes back to expectations, though, right? Like, what is this expectation of being spiritual? This is where the modern use of the word spiritual is kind of gross.
And here we
like,
are.
I'm not being spiritual because I'm playing a game on my phone. Is that true?
No.
Okay, then. Right.
You are not going to take my game away from me.
But you can consider the game a distraction. So that's what I'm saying. Is like, let's open our minds a little bit more.
Well, if I find it a distraction, it means I have expectations of doing other things that aren't getting done.
Right.
Yes.
But it doesn't make you less spiritual.
Yeah, ignore that question.
Well, or don't.
But ask yourself, right? What is your... So for me, and just to answer this question, when I want to sit and do something, I find I have to put my phone in the other room.
Mm-hmm.
because I'll distract myself.
Yeah, I mean,
Instead
I
of-
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like the electronics
Oh, they can be really bad.
they're a distraction.
They're a big distraction.
They're a big void. But there are voids in the universe that are part of the whole. So
Which goes back to the movies yesterday. Oh, by the way, both Jennifer and I saw Joker yesterday.
Yeah.
Go see it. It's really good.
If you like that kind of thing. It's deep.
It is, yeah. I need to see it again. Just so I can just see it again and like be like, okay, let me, yeah.
Yeah. What time are we at?
I don't know.
47.
All right, so we'll finish this up in about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just a couple of other questions that I wrote here. Describe God. What is it that prevents you from living your full potential? What is your one wish for the world? That's a good one.
You went over that one quick. You're like, don't describe God, Jennifer.
No.
I'm only
We
kidding.
need to have a whole show about that, I think.
I don't know.
Well,
That's
yeah.
a big one. That's fine, though. Apparently, we like to tackle these big topics.
We do. That's why we're here. How is your current practice of spirituality or religion serving you?
Okay. Or serving humanity. Or
How
not
is it
even
serving?
humanity, the world.
I know a lot of people who go to church every week and they don't give a shit about other people.
Or if they don't give a shit about other people, then they don't give a shit about anything else. They don't give a shit about the world that they live in.
No.
That's sad.
It is sad.
Yeah.
What is your let's let whoa, Shauna tries to talk. Take two.
let's let.
What is your one wish for the world from a spiritualistic mindset? You being the spiritual person that you are, and I'm looking at you, but I'm also posing this to the listeners and the viewers. What is your one wish for the world? Do you have one?
I would say for everyone to feel unconditional love.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one.
Not like to actually feel unconditionally loved, I should say. That would be my wish for the world. That they feel unconditionally loved. Yeah.
That there's nothing that they have to do differently. That it's their God-given right to be loved.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I don't want to use the word peace. My one wish for the world. Oh, I know exactly what it is. My one wish is that all the people who view the world as their own private trash can would keep their stuff in their car or in their hands until they get home or get to their destination and throw their stuff away accordingly. It infuriates me to see so much trash all over this planet.
So how can you enlighten that a little more?
Like right now? Or
Yeah.
like in general?
Yeah. Let's bring that up a level. So that when your wish for the world would be
Cleanliness. It would, no, not cleanliness, that's not the right word.
Can I put words in your mouth?
Yeah, please.
Environmental awareness.
Huge.
Like, yeah. I love that.
Humanitarianism. Environmental awareness. And I'm not bringing this message like climate change. That's a whole nother topic. I'm just saying,
Not really.
throw your trash out.
Recycle.
Recycle. My wish is that people would wake up to the fact that we have to dispose of our trash in the right way.
All right, but this goes back, again, it's another full circle topic.
Because I care about the world.
The world, not just humans. All life forms. Because if people could understand the impact of throwing trash out a window or whatever it is that you're talking about, that it impacts not just humans, but all of life, which supports us humans. I mean, if you need to be, not you, but if someone needs to think selfishly, like they're the only thing that matters, if you want to be supported on this earth, then you got to support what supports us.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my wish. My wish is for the healthiest planet that we can live on. And yes, there's a lot going on around the planet. my wish is in regards to people throwing trash out to the world, thinking that it's okay for them to just like throw stuff out their windows or whatever. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox now.
Spirituality. What is spirituality? Talk to us.
We would love for you to talk to us. And I'm realizing that these are topics that we're going to come back to.
Oh, yeah. Well, I posed after, because we recorded last Tuesday. And then I had my meditation group on Wednesday. And I brought up about the topic of expectation. Yeah. We talked about it a lot.
I've been talking about it a lot.
And the group was like, are you ever going to have guests on? Like, it would be so great to have that conversation with a group of people. And I said, for that one, 100%. Because we were stumped. And it's hilarious. It was hilarious.
I posed it Tuesday afternoon in class. And it was really interesting. And I found myself thinking, why weren't you people there with us today while we were recording?
We're going to make a lifeline call.
Yes. We need to figure that out. Maybe there is a way that we can get people...
Well, we totally could call someone and have them on speakerphone even.
Yeah, I mean, we could.
That would be kind of interesting. Like,
I don't know how it would sound. I mean, that's just my
but that's okay.
thoughts around how it will sound to
I bet it would work. It might not sound great, but it would still be, like, they'd be able to hear.
Yeah.
Be audible.
So we're evolving.
Yeah.
And we'll have guests. And we are so excited about our new tapestry.
And in the meantime, find us.
Find us.
On Hawks and Lavender Rose, on Instagram, on Facebook.
Private Facebook group.
On YouTube, SoundCloud.
iTunes, your app, your podcast app on your handheld device.
Yep, ShaunaGullbrand.com.
Shauna Gullbrand on Instagram and Facebook.
JourneyOmYoga.com on Instagram, Facebook, all those good things. It's been real today.
We love you.